The twin suns of Varnis burned low in the violet sky, throwing long shadows across the palace made of crystal and bone. Inside its grand throne room, hundreds of alien courtiers bowed in silence as the massive doors creaked open. A group of armored guards entered, dragging a dust-covered human by the arms. His name was Eli Kane, a crashed engineer from the exploration vessel Aurora. He had been found near the wreckage, muttering strange words about survival and science. To the Varnian court he was both fascinating and dangerous, a creature from a primitive world that still played with fire and steel. But to their princess Selira of the Moons, he was something more, a mystery wrapped in flesh and defiance. Selira sat on her throne, her eyes glowing faint emerald, her gown woven from starlight silk that shimmered like liquid glass. When she spoke, her voice echoed across the hall, calm, commanding, and curious. "Human," she said slowly. "My scouts tell me you carry a creature from your world, a worm that grows twice its size when provoked. Reveal this worm to me, or I will rip open your vessel myself." A murmur rippled through the crowd. The guards tensed, waiting for Eli to beg, but he only blinked, confused and almost amused. "A worm?" he repeated, dusting off his sleeve. "You mean an earthworm?" The princess's eyes narrowed. "Do not mock me, human. My hunters saw it. It twisted and grew in your wreckage. It must be some weapon of your kind." Eli bit back a laugh. "It's not a weapon, Your Highness. It's a bioengineered earthworm, part of our ship's ecosystem. It helps recycle waste, generate oxygen, and process radiation. It's completely harmless." The princess stood, tall and radiant, every movement controlled and deliberate. "Then you will show it to me now." Eli hesitated. "You might not want to see it. It reacts badly to energy fields, like the ones your guards are wearing." Her gaze hardened. "You think to give orders to me?" he sighed. "No, I'm just saying, when it grows, it's not pretty." Selira tilted her head, the faintest hint of a smile touching her lips. "Then perhaps your world's ugliness will entertain me. Show me your creature, human." The palace gates opened and the procession moved toward the crash site. The wrecked Aurora lay half buried in the dark sand valley, smoke still rising from its ruptured hull. Strange purple plants had already begun to grow around it, pulsing faintly as if feeding on its radiation. Eli walked ahead, his boots crunching on the glassy ground. Behind him, the princess followed with 2 guards and a hovering light drone. Her steps were silent, her expression unreadable. When they reached the broken ship, Eli stopped beside a shattered containment pod leaking green mist. He wiped the glass and pointed. "There it is. Serpentis gelida." Inside lay a pale, coiled creature no bigger than a child's hand. It pulsed slowly, glowing faintly with green veins. The princess leaned closer, eyes wide with fascination. "This is the worm that grows?" "Yes," Eli said. "It absorbs radiation, then multiplies its own cells to survive. It's designed to adapt to hostile environments." Her voice lowered, intrigued. "And if it senses a threat?" He hesitated. "It defends itself." Before he could warn her further, she touched the cracked glass with her bare fingers. The worm shivered. Its glow brightened. Within seconds, it doubled in size, then doubled again. Its skin turned translucent, revealing twisting veins of light beneath. The guard stepped back in alarm. The worm pressed against the glass, splitting it with a wet crack. Eli shouted, "Don't touch it, it's feeding on your body heat." But it was too late. The containment pod shattered, and the creature poured out like living light, expanding into a serpentine mass as long as a man. The guards fired plasma bolts, and the creature absorbed every blast, growing larger and brighter with each hit. "Stop," Eli shouted. "It feeds on energy." Selira's composure cracked for the first time. "Then how do we stop it?" "Follow me." Eli grabbed her arm and pulled her away as the worm tore through the wreckage behind them. The sand around them exploded in bursts of light as the creature thrashed, feeding on the power of their weapons. They stumbled into a canyon where blue crystals jutted from the walls like frozen lightning. Eli ducked into a cave, dragging the princess beside him. She was breathing hard, eyes burning with a mix of fear and excitement. "You touched me," she whispered, almost as if it shocked her more than the monster outside. "Would you rather I let you get eaten?" He shot back, grinning despite the chaos. For a moment their eyes met, alien emerald against human brown, and something shifted. The air between them felt heavy with understanding. She was no longer just a ruler looking at a subject. She was a being looking at another who defied her world's logic. Then the cavern trembled. The worm had found them. Eli looked around, searching for something, anything. Then his gaze fell on a cracked coolant tank, leaking silver vapor. "There," he muttered. He sprinted toward it, pried open the valve, and aimed the freezing stream at the tunnel entrance just as the worm lunged in. The icy mist enveloped it, its glow dimming as frost crawled over its body. Within seconds, it froze solid, motionless, silent, glittering like a glass sculpture. The princess stepped closer, staring in awe. "Just stopped it," he exhaled hard. "Yeah, with dumb luck." She turned toward him, her face softening. "How you risked your life for me?" He gave a small shrug. "You're the one who broke the jar, princess." Her lips curved slightly. "You're either very brave or very foolish. Both, apparently." They returned to the palace under a pale moonlight. The worm's frozen body was taken to the royal lab for study, but Celira didn't let anyone else near it, without Eli's permission. That alone sent whispers through the court. No human had ever been granted such protection by a royal. In the days that followed, the princess summoned Eli to her private observatory each night. There, above the endless city of crystal spires, they talked, about science, about earth, about fear. He told her of oceans and forests, of the fragile beauty of a world always on the edge of breaking. She listened, fascinated by every word. "You speak of your planet as if it were alive," she said one night. "It is," Eli replied softly. "We're just part of it. We build things to survive, but we never stop being afraid. That fear makes us human." Celira looked out at the horizon, where the twin moons touched the sky. "My people would call that weakness." "Then maybe they've forgotten what strength really is." She turned toward him, eyes glimmering. "And what do you think strength is?" He thought for a moment. "Doing the right thing." "Even when it scares you," her voice lowered. "You talk like someone who's lost much." "Everyone from Earth has lost something," he said quietly. "That's how we keep moving." She didn't reply, but her gaze softened, and for the first time the human and the princess simply stood in silence. Two beings from different worlds, connected by something deeper than biology or law. The peace didn't last. Days later, the council discovered Eli's late-night meetings with the princess. The high ministers accused him of manipulation, calling for his execution. He infects her mind with primitive thoughts. They cried. He poisons her judgment. Celira refused to listen, but the pressure grew, and on the seventh night, the council stormed her observatory with armed guards. "Step away from the human," a general shouted. "He is to be detained." Celitra stood between them. "You will not touch him. He has defied the Empire's decree." "So have I," she said coldly. Eli took a step forward. "Celira, it's fine. Let them take me. I don't want you—" Before he could finish, a loud crack echoed through the hall. The ice around the worm's containment chamber split open. Green light flared across the room. The creature was alive again, hungrier, stronger, unstoppable. Guards fired plasma bolts. The same mistake repeated. The worm grew, its glow swallowing the chamber. Eli shouted, "It's feeding again! Stop firing!" But panic had already spread. The worm lunged toward the throne platform. Without thinking, Celira activated her royal energy shield and ran forward. The creature's tendrils wrapped around her glowing body. "Wait, no!" Eli shouted. "You'll die!" Her voice, calm even as light engulfed her, said softly, "You told me strength is doing what scares you. So let me be strong now." The worm's glow shifted from green to blue. It began to shrink, its mass collapsing inward, until finally it dissolved into a fine mist that scattered into the air. The energy shield flickered out. Celira collapsed into Eli's arms. He held her tightly, shaking. "You didn't have to do that." Her eyes fluttered open, faint but alive. "You humans make strange things, but stranger still is your heart." He smiled through gritted teeth. "I could say the same about you." Days later, the council bowed to her. The princess had saved their city, and the human who defied their fears. Against tradition, she appointed Eli as advisor to the crown, responsible for studying Terran science. Many protested, but none dared challenge the woman who had faced death without flinching. Under her orders, a new chamber was built, half alien, half human technology. Together they worked side by side, bridging two worlds that once stood divided. And yet even amid the research and political chaos, there were quiet moments, small, human ones. A smile shared across the lab, a question that lingered too long, a silence that said more than words could. One evening, as they stood by the observation deck, the twin suns slowly setting beyond the horizon, Selira broke the silence. "You never told me, Eli. Why did your kind make a creature like that, something that grows stronger when it's attacked?" Eli looked out at the fading light and said softly, "Because that's what we are. Every time we're hit, we adapt, we grow. Maybe too much sometimes, but it's how we survive." Selira smiled faintly, her voice softer now. "Perhaps that is why I cannot stop thinking of you. You remind me that fear and strength are not opposites. They are the same." He turned toward her, meeting her glowing eyes. "Careful, princess. That sounds dangerously close to affection." She stepped closer. "And what if it is?" Eli hesitated, then smiled. "Then maybe the galaxy's finally evolving." For a long moment, neither spoke. The air was still, heavy with unspoken emotion. The Princess of Varnis, descendant of empires older than his entire planet, stood beside a broken human from a crashed ship, and in their silence, a new story was born. Two worlds once divided by fear, now connected by curiosity, and something far more dangerous, hope. As the twin suns sank behind the mountains, painting the sky in gold and violet, Selira whispered almost to herself, "Perhaps this is how empires truly begin, not with conquest but with a question." Eli smiled, looking at her. "And a very curious princess." She laughed quietly, the sound like starlight on water. And in that laughter, something eternal stirred. The first spark of peace between alien and human, written not in treaties, but in the beating of two hearts that dared to understand each other.